Hey everybody, welcome to The Art of Comics. It's me, your host, Andres Salazar. I'm excited to be back. Irashaimase. What time is it? Ohayo gozaimasu. Bienvenidos. Konnichiwa. Minyan Andres. I'm very excited to... That last was Russian. I'm excited to be here. You know, sometimes I'm excited for a couple reasons. One is I went on a great little trail run. I'm getting into trail running. I usually just run, but now I'm like trail running. It's a new thing. So I had a great time doing that. Took a shower. That's why my hair's wet. And I thought, you know what? Let's do the things we love in life. Life sometimes kicks us down. Sometimes we feel like we get stressed out. A lot of things are going on in my personal life. A lot of new changes. But I am going to be positive. I am focusing on the things that I love and focusing on my kids. And today, I'm focusing on this channel because it's been a while. I've missed you guys. I miss the comments. I miss the thoughts. It's more of a one-way relationship, but that's okay. I enjoy doing it, and I haven't talked about comics in a while because I've been painting. I got a lot of new paintings. Been doing that. Did the art walk, doing stuff like that. But I'm also on TikTok. I'm doing some little like travel-y kind of humory things over there. But I have been kind of neglecting a little bit of the comics. That's my bread and butter. We've got 5,000 subscribers. Woo-hoo! That's right, 5,000. That's 5,000 in Spanish. In Japanese, it is go-sen? Go-yon? I don't know. I don't remember. I forgot what 1,000 is. I knew it. It's not sin. I don't know, maybe it is. Okay. Today, we're going to talk about... Sorry, I just meander sometimes. Today, we're going to talk about something special. It's very special to me. I'm going to share with you the very first comic I've ever read. I remember it clearly. This is G.I. Joe number 12. Very first comic. This was made in 83, which makes perfect sense. 83. So, what I remember about this comic, we were living in Arkansas, in a little town, little suburb of Little Rock, the capital. And I remember vividly, we had this Ford Ecoline white van, and my mom pulled into a gas station, and she gave me this comic. She bought this comic. 60 cents back then. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was 60 cents. Such a good comic. And I recall her giving it to me. Now, this isn't the actual one. I rebought this on eBay like a year ago or so, a couple years ago. But she gave me this comic. I read it. I was about 10 years old. Yeah, I was about 10 years old. I read it. I loved it. Now, this is also the time when G.I. Joe was hot. It was super hot in the 80s. So I had the toys. I was all into the G.I. Joe mythos. Don't know if the TV show... I don't think the TV show came out quite yet. I think it comes out a few years from now. But I was like all up in it. And so this is the very first comic. Very first comic. And I remember it. It's interesting how there's certain things where it's like you just grab onto and you like remember it. Hold on. So why don't I turn the camera over and talk about... This is Larry Hama, of course. Pencils by Mike Vosberg. Inks by John D'Agostino. Letters by Joe Rosen and Jim Shooter. This is Jim Shooter. Danny O'Neill. I didn't know Danny O'Neill was an editor for Marvel? Didn't know that. So let's turn the camera over. I'll show you a little bit of this great art. Look at that. Isn't that a great cover, though? It's so freaking awesome. So let's talk about a G.I. Joe, number 12. Yo, Joe! Cobra!
Are you ready?
Okay, everybody. Whenever there's trouble, G.I. Joe is there. Okay. If you were a kid like me in this era, you loved freaking G.I. Joe. And if you were into comics, you drew it. You reproduced it. And this was just so cool. I love this, like the design of this, these beautiful curves, the thing coming out, people move in different positions, the dynamic. It's like Dutch angled, all these cool angles and movements. It's very cool, man. Yeah, you can look at it and say, it's not rendered great, anatomy's a little off. But as far as the design and the composition, I think it is really freaking good. The angle of the camera moving, just, yeah, this is good. This is very well composed. Let's talk about Mike Vosburgh and Larry Hama, of course. But at the time, especially in the 80s, it was all about the art, or at least that's what kids think of. And I remember this. I had this vehicle, the little buggy Jeep thing. But yeah, I remember these drawings. And, this kind of panel layout is probably a little what would be considered old school nowadays. We don't really... Now everything's widescreen and big, and we'll call it cinematic, which is silly because these is not... Comics should not be cinematic. Cinematic should be for movies. Comics should be comic, right? So this is before that ridiculousness. And you could thank people like Warren Ellis, I think, specifically for giving it that kind of like concept. But the idea, of course, is that this isn't used to mine to make a movie. This is to tell a story in comic books sequentially, right? So boom, 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 beautiful panel here, great position, I love this face. Then boom, 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 showing some action and some humor, right? I mean, it's great. Yeah, I had that Jeep. Jeep is freaking cool. Cobra always had kind of some lame stuff. They wound up getting the Hiss tank, but generally speaking, I thought the G.I. Joe stuff was, well, it's more grounded in like realistic stuff. But freaking Bubble Yum, dude, loved this ad. Saw this all the time. And sometimes you'd read these, like, oh, where's the collectors? Let's go to California, Another World, in L.A., Comic Vendor, and Crenshaw Boulevard, and Torrance, and just so freaking cool, all this stuff. Loved it. Bada-doom! Love the explosion. We got a little bit of action lines here. I wonder if manga came up with action. I mean, they're the king of it, but I would like to learn who and how was the first action lines. It was probably like Winsor McKay or somebody, someone like a long time ago. Or could even be in like Japanese etchings. I don't know. But I'd be curious to know, how did the speed lines come about? Also, the coloring, just kind of pointing out coloring. Back then, even today, but back then you would have sometimes the coloring on these longer wide shots. You wouldn't bother coloring in all the different elements. You would just kind of mask it one color. So these guys, everything here is masked this kind of light blue. Works perfect. Even the motorbike is that way too. These guys are just yellow, right? I think the longer shots, just because it's so much easier than to like put down all those little colors. Remember, this is brush, so this is no computer. You're not zooming in with your little pixel. This is guy with a brush, and he's probably like, screw that, I'm not going to do all that. It could also be an element of the printing technique. So with the plates and everything, that might just be too hard to like get the detail with the way they printed. Freaking DC. Now, does DC have cherry blossoms? I did not know that. I was in DC, but it was in the wintertime. Maybe they do. Maybe there's a spot over there by the Jefferson Memorial, which is like across from the Lincoln, I think. Or not across, but like kind of over there. We got Gumbo. I love freaking Gumbo. And of course, Snake Eyes, who is like everyone's favorite because he's like a ninjas type of guy. Later on, they even go even farther than ninja by giving him like swords and stuff and getting full ninja. But yeah, he was the coolest one because he didn't talk. And he had a cool outfit and his ninja like. this is like in South America. You got like the Latino, native dude who's, he's not what he thinks. He's scarred. He must be a Cobra spy. And then, we've got these like guys in here with the Caribbean white clothing gear, travel gear, whatever you call it, tourist. Love this. Just bubblegum. Oh, I called him a Gumbo. His name was Gung Ho. Sorry, not Gumbo. Although it should be Gumbo because he's like Cajun, but Gung Ho. Love this freaking shotgun in one hand, pistol in the other, with like laser beam style, like shooting. Rat-a-tat-tat. Classic. They got the like AK-47s. I don't know why I guess it's just because of Russia and Viet Cong, the Vietnamese, which were Russian supplied, that the AK-47 is like, okay, that's just all enemies. Non-Americans have AKs. Which, a little side note, AK-47s are actually more reliable than M16s. That was one of the features of the Vietnam War, where the enemy had some serious, they just had better freaking armaments. You could put sand in those things and they'll work still. Like, they just are super rugged. The way they work, they're just very forgiving. Whereas the M16s, not only would you have barrel issues with them getting too hot, but they just jammed a lot. That's what happens. I forgot this bad guy's name, though. The guy with the big ass, like, it's not an M60, but it's some kind of thing that's supposed to be similar to it. Don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is. 30 cal air-cooled Browning. So, yeah, it's a big old honking dude. The shadow man hesitates to shoot. Perhaps he remembers how I spared his life in the Arctic. Nice. And then he's got the little Uzis. A full Uzi, not the mini Uzi. He's got like a full Uzi. It's kind of fun. Don't know where Uzi comes from. The name suggests like Asian perhaps, but I don't know where that gun is located. Dude, memory freaking lane, man. Gosh, I remember all this. So crazy. They get captured. This is cool. It's just fun to see these like comics. It would be fun to also look at these like recolored or, remastered in a way with better paper. Or just black and white would be neat to kind of like look at the line work. Sometimes coloring does add things, but when you strip it away, you might kind of get a little more appreciation. These dogs are not great. Dogs are kind of bad, but I got the picture. I got the idea. I remember this too with Huntress. And then there's Gung Ho. Donk. Clonk. Oh, this is right. Snake Eyes, like, people saw his face because he got burned up. Well, we saw it just a moment ago, right? He gets burned up, and so they're like, oh, crap, his face. But we never see it, of course. And then he runs up to this thing, and there's like a super cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this crap, dude. These old 80s comics. And, of course, there he is right there, all burned up. And, of course, it is, a great cliffhanger, right? Like, what happens? And the bomb is, like, coming right there. The bomb, they made it think like the bomb was coming in the boat, but that's okay. That's more exciting than just a little brick here. We don't know what happens. He's going to survive. But super freaking cool, man. Love these old comics. You can find these every now and then places, and you also can get omnibuses and all that kind of stuff. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed. That was fun. More to come. I'm serious. I'm going to do a lot more videos. We're going to freaking do this as much as we can and make it happen. Thanks, guys. Bye.